A very warm welcome to 12 Twinkling Stories by 12 Star Storytellers of Kathashtakam, an initiative of Enlit Kids. Today's story is titled Little Robin's Red Vest by Jan Fernley. So let's begin. It was a week before Christmas and little Robin was very excited. He washed and dried all his 7 vests to be ready for the frosty days ahead. And when all the vests had been dried and ironed, he put on his white vest and decided to go skating at the pond. And there he met Frog. Now, Frog was looking all cold and chilly. And he said to little Robin, "Can you please help?" Little Robin took off his white vest and gave it to Frog. And Frog said, "Thank you." Little Robin thought to himself, "I still have 6 vests left." 6 days before Christmas, little Robin pulled out his green vest and decided to go play in the snow. And there he met Hedgehog. And Hedgehog was all cold and almost frozen in the snow. And little Robin took off his green vest and gave it to Hedgehog. Hedgehog was very happy and said, "Thank you." Little Robin said, "It's okay, I still have 5 vests left." 5 days before Christmas, little Robin pulled out his pink vest and decided to go and see if he could find some worms in the ground. And he found Mole there, and he said, "Brrr, it's so cold, I can hardly dig the ground, it's frozen solid." And little Robin said, "Why don't you take my pink vest? Maybe at least you can feel warm." And Mole said, "I don't think I can squeeze into your vest, but I will try." And they both managed to pull it on the Mole, and he was looking quite handsome in his pink vest. Little Robin thought to himself, "I still have 4 vests left." The next day, 4 days before Christmas, little Robin pulled out his yellow vest and decided to climb a tree. He was hopping about in the oak tree when he met Squirrel. Now Squirrel was all cold and chattering and said, "I can barely sleep at night." And little Robin took off the yellow vest and gave it to Squirrel. He thought to himself, "It's okay, I still have 3 vests left." The next day, little Robin wore his blue vest and decided to fly in the sky in his blue vest. And he spotted Rabbit on the hills. The rabbit, though he was a furry fellow, was shivering and chattering his teeth. And he said, "It's really, really cold. I can hardly feel my nose." And little Robin said, "Here, why don't you take my blue vest?" He thought to himself, "I still have 2 more vests at home." 2 days before Christmas, little Robin pulled out his purple vest and wore it and thought he would go nearby the river. And there he spotted an otter with her baby. Now, the mother otter was looking really sad and said, "My baby's feeling poorly." And the little Robin took off his purple vest and gave it to the baby otter. And the mother said, "I'm so grateful. Thank you for your help." Little Robin thought to himself, "Oh dear, I just have 1 vest left." One day before Christmas, he wore his last vest, an orange one, and was whistling to himself, thinking, "After all, I'm warm and I'm happy." And then he spotted a tiny mouse in the garden. Now the mouse was shivering and saying, "I'm really, really cold." And without a second thought, the little Robin took off his last vest, the orange one, and gave it to the little mouse. And the mouse pulled it up till his ears, tucked in his tail, and said, "Thank you so much." Now, it was late that evening on Christmas Eve, and our little Robin had no vests left. And he was feeling really cold and he was far away from home. And he decided to rest on the rooftop. And he wondered if he could make it through the cold, frosty night. And just as he closed his eyes and was about to fall asleep, he heard the sounds of a sleigh and some boots going crunch, crunch, crunch on the rooftop. And before he figured out who it was, large hands scooped him up and tucked him in what he thought felt like a white long beard. And soon he was flying across the sky. And then he reached a warm, cozy place. And this man, who had this most wonderful voice, said, "This is the little person, this little bird, a robin, who's been helping everybody around him. Don't you think he needs something special?" And a lady took the little robin in her lap and took a red thread from a red coat and began to knit a very special little vest for the little robin. Soon it was ready, and it was a perfect fit. And this kind man with the most amazing booming voice said, "I've been watching you and I'm so proud of you. Without a thought to yourself, you helped everyone around you and gave away all your vests. You really have the spirit of Christmas in you. And always remember, kindness is never wasted." And he said that this little vest is very special because it will always keep you warm. And anybody who looks at you will also have warm feelings inside. And with that, he said, "I think it's time for you to return back." And soon they were zipping across the skies again. And the sun was peeping out of the sky as well, ready to kiss the lands below. It was Christmas morning, that's correct. And just as the little robin was placed back on the rooftop, the person said bye. And little robin said bye to the person back. You know who it was? Yes, it was Santa Claus, the man with the long beard and the jolly voice. And little robin was so happy to see all the children in their houses removing their gifts and packages that he went, perched himself on the top of the oak tree and began to sing in a beautiful melodious voice in his red vest, as red as a reindeer's nose, "Merry Christmas" to all in a sweet voice. And everybody who heard and saw the robin felt warm and happy too. And that's the end of the story. My name is Vidya Nesarikar. I do hope you enjoyed the story about kindness and the true spirit of Christmas. Thank you so much for listening to me. Bye-bye. Merry Christmas.